Hello, hello. This is a video that I wanted to show of a replay I had where I played with some high-level players, but I wanted to show some concepts that most people could probably implement in their games. Um, there's a few concepts that I saw that very clearly that helped win top here, although the red player, the very good player, helped like seal the deal and finish it. But there were some moments here where you could implement, and it seems like a good way to make a replay, put a video up, and have people see the replay analysis. So I am going to actually play from my point of view, so you can see um, what my thought process is here is. I'm playing in the front line, so I have to front line for my red player, who is going to be playing the economy game. He's going to get his technology stuff up, high income. My opponents, there's two frontline players, or although I think this guy, the backline player, was intending to tech, but he was forced to go frontline. There's also a green player here who is also very good, and he was really trying to hold the line as best he could. But I wanted to show what happened that was made it difficult for him. So I'm just gonna speed up the start here because it's rather uneventful. You know, I'm just gonna focus on this top side, bottom side. It rather just holds down this line here. But I wanna focus on this top side where it's these three players versus these three players, so you can see what goes on. Okay, so first I have a constructor turret up as my commander is leaving, because if you look at the commander on the bottom left, somewhere, it says its build power is 300. This thing's build power is 200. So effectively, once you have this started or built, your commander can leave, and your build power at the base is relatively the same, because these guys have 80 build power. Together, it's about the same build power as one commander. And if you notice, when you start the game, your commander basically uses all your resources. So if you have one constructing turret, you know, you're kind of covered there. So also, I wanted to take the back mechs here, but you know, he really wanted all the mexes, so he's gonna get a lot of income. I don't get that many mexes. I have 3 here, 2 here, 2 here, and I don't have my engineer going here until now because I kind of forgot about that. But you know, relatively standard start, I guess. So now I have my first army coming up here. You know, you pump out like 2 or 3 engineers, you have your commander go, you have your construction turret, then you start producing soldiers. So I want to show something. Okay, you see the player, I see the red circle here for the defense lines. I also see the commander here, right? And I see my ally is here. So presumably, actually, this player is going to go like this, and he wants to go like this. He wants to contest me down the middle, which is right here. This is the middle. So your goal as the front line is actually to push just beyond the midline here. You want to go up to here, okay? Now, if you notice, there's actually a player up here, a player down here, and he's going to be focused with primarily these 2 players. So he's actually going to be defending this line right here, and he's defending up here because I pushed to the midline and he hasn't shown his presence. He could be in the middle here, I wouldn't know. But if you notice, there's actually a hole right here, and that's where these guys are kind of filtering through. So I noticed that. So it's like, now you can go like this, or you can go like this. It's literally a hole in their line. So, you know, there's a YouTuber, actually, there's lots of people that love saying the line, hold the line. Well, here's a situation where instead of holding the line, you're exploiting holes in the line. So that's just what the thought process is here. So I'm going to continue this at 2 times speed. So, or actually, you know, let's slow down. Because what happens is I decide, you know, maybe we can queue up some commands here, right? We queue up some commands, and then you start microing your units here. So we see the soldiers here. So we see that the forces are right here. So we decide, instead of going downwards, we go upwards. Right? And purple has the same idea. Now, here's another concept that I wanted to share. So he has only like one pawn, right? I have 5 pawns here, or grunts, right? Same thing. But what happens is that when you have 1 pawn, it only takes 1 pawn or 1 commander to deal with this. But if I have 5 pawns or 5 grunts, you're gonna need like six grunts or your commander like right on top of it. And if you micro these, it's very hard to deal with. So you're gonna see how these 5, maybe 6 grunts get like a really good trade just because they ran through the hole and then you micro them away from targets of high power. So there's high power here, there's high power right here. So we're gonna run these guys in. Alright, I'm gonna clear these. I see this guy, so you know, we're not gonna deal with that. We're gonna run this way instead. Because he can control this area. All these mexes, all these factory solar panels are protected. We're gonna bypass that. So see how his singular pawn didn't achieve much because he was taken out by a singular grunt. I have 5 grunts here, so it's gonna see how it's gonna take a much more favorable trade. I already got a mex. I see the power here, so I run up here. I took another one, and another one. So that was 4, now 5 grunts. 5 grunts that these 5 grunts have already taken out because these all grunts attacked one at a time because this is their reinforcement point. So they're streaming in this way. Whereas they have a whole bunch here and a whole bunch like right here, right? This is like a concept in like warfare or whatever. They call it like defeat in detail. So numerically, I only have 5 grunts. Numerically, they have like 10 grunts like 10 over this entire area, right? Or maybe 10 plus, right? Definitely 10 plus, right? But it's defeat in detail because I have a numerical advantage in this very localized area here. Because we ran through the hole, we bypassed their defensive lines, right? We ran through, right? We ignored the other defensive lines, right? Another one here. So now we basically came in, saw the defensive line, moved up, saw the defensive line, move here, saw the defensive line, moved up, right? This. And this is just creates so much chaos for the opponents that there's like virtually no pressure happening up here because this player is now looking at that. This player was looking at that, but now this player is threatening, so he wants to go back to there. So this is just causing so much chaos because there's just a little hole here that these 5, maybe 6 grunts can get into. So I had one split off, you know. Sometimes it's good to split off to see what you can get. But that's just like what I really wanted to show, like one of the things. There's a few more things. But see how the commander is now able to take this midline that we were aiming for earlier on, is able to get to that location. And the commander is worth 2,000 metal, so that's like a lot of power. It's its own defensive line. Just putting your commander there, because the moment they show up with like pawns or tanks or whatever, you just degun them. It makes it very hard to break through. So if I was in this position, right, and you saw this happening, your first instinct is to deal with that. Most certainly, yes. That's one thing. But another thing is actually you might want to consider counterattacking because I only have 1 pawn here. I have 4 here, but that's because reinforcement. I'm not microing them. So if you manage to get your pawns up to like this point, right, this is gonna have a hard time catching up. So you can just sweep in, perhaps, and it's really undefended up here. So consider counterattacking if this, and you basically follow the same principle that I followed when you get these pawns in the back line. You just ignore the defensive lines at the start of the game. You ignore these lines, and you just go straight to the back line. So, see, this player is roughly the equivalent of this player in terms of like what their role is. They're supposed to tech up. So, if I had 5 pawns right here, right now, he'd be slowed down. You know, like he wouldn't be able to pump out these engineers. He would have to like immediately stop and pump out like, I don't know, fiends or something. It's just a massive headache. Just a massive headache if you just exploit this line. That's why I was thinking like, you know, beyond all reason should be called beyond all run bys, because you just run by everything. Okay, let's continue here. I get 1 mech here solar panel. I was going to get another one, but this guy played well and he started repairing it. I did not expect that. He sent his soldiers in, repairs, and that's enough to deal with that. But you're gonna see that this little hole here is gonna play another part later, so we're gonna speed up. So now, because I'm done microing, I can go back to macroing. I get my stuff going. I continue fortifying this line here. Okay, so my attention has gone up here, but I see the explosion. You hear it. So now your attention should probably move down here. So my ally is also going to ping it because there's 4,000 metal here. So I am going to get my pawns or grunts and get them going up. So I wanted to bunch them up here because it's a similar concept. It's more defeat in detail, because if all of these guys attack in like a very long line and they move in a line like this, right? And they encounter forces right here, these guys can only attack, whereas all these guys are just doing nothing. So if I get these guys sort of in a clump like this and they all move together, okay, then this entire area is going to have all the pawns attack at the same time. I just unintentionally drew a smiley face, but okay. So that's what I was thinking. I gather out the pawns a little bit, so it's a much tighter clump here, and they're going to move in to try to help the purple player. Another concept is that you want to help your allies when you can. So I have my commander still here. This is providing a lot of defense against this player. So notice how this player's commander is just completely absent. If this guy's commander was right here and he was pushing up with soldiers, I'd be like super stressed out. I'd have to like run like this immediately. But this player is not providing adequate pressure. He does have these aggravators, which are very annoying. He can push down these guard towers. I can't really do anything with the commander because he can just kite back. But notice how this play, okay, made the time for this play, right? Which made the time for this play, okay? And then these towers give me the time to lose ground, but not lose like anything significant. Like these mexes are still denied to this player, and this is still on his side of the territory. So we're still all like in the green. Like we're all doing really good. So I have admittedly I don't micro these like perfectly over here because I'm kind of busy like getting my stuff up here because I had spent so much time over here. So this is kind of an emergency, but you know, this buys him the time to get his res bot over. I pick off the mechs because I'm like, you know, it's gonna bother him. I know I showed my presence. It's gonna slow him down. I should have maybe like spread these out here. This is a misplay a little bit because I just send them over here and forget about them. Because now I'm just like dealing with 3 different points here, but you know, helping them, showing them, destroying the mechs really like puts this guy at like tempers his mood basically. The red bot needs to start rezzing. I mean, reclaiming, same thing. Okay, now this guy starts pushing it, and here's what we have, an excellent example of the D-gun just eradicating like 8 pawns or so right here for the cost of like 1,000 HP. But, you know, that's gonna let me continue holding this area and continually to deny these next locations. Back at the base, I have workers basically queue up sometimes, occasionally. Like when I feel safe, I can go up, I can queue a advanced solar and then a energy converter, and it's roughly 1-to-1. This 5 energy is going to be used for, you know, additional production. So you roughly 1-to-1, and then occasionally you'll do an additional solar collector, you know, just to keep these production going here. So that's what's going on at home. I've also switched off, I believe, or about to switch off a grunge production and go into plasma bots, I think, potentially here. Okay. There's also a huge reclaim field right here, so I want to keep contesting this. I have a res bot here, but I'm not paying attention. Yeah. I'm not the best player. I'm decent, but not the best. Okay, now here's an excellent example, again, of why you should not engage commanders with your army like this. You want to be able to kill a commander, because I just degunned like 1,000 worth of metal right here, and this player is hurting because that is worth like what? 10 tanks is worth like 30 grunts almost. That's like a lot of metal, and that really hurts. That allows me for my next army here that's coming to like really hold this area and contest it hard. I have another res bot that I am not paying attention to. Now he does have more tanks, but you know, that's what's going on basically. We're gonna... Yeah, I tried to like poke this area because I saw his forces were going up here. So I saw his forces were going up here. I know that there's like kind of not a whole lot going on over here. but I know that he really wants to take control of this area. He probably has engineers or reclaim bots here, so I wanted to like poke him and see if he would go back, and he does. So we just decide holding. Now, I am playing a little passively because I really want to get this reclaim, but my army is just simply not there yet. We're still like ramping up production. So instead of attacking all those tanks, we see that the hole's there. The hole is right there, all right? There is one aggravator there, all right? The hole is there, and so we just go in, okay? I know this player is right here. He's got stuff here and stuff here, but look, his army is right here, okay? That means his majority of his forces are concentrated here. They're concentrated here. It's the same situation at the start of the game. There's a hole here, and if you just exploit it, you can cause a lot of chaos and a lot of damage. So another thing is, notice how this guy is not responding, actually. He's not moving his army to help the player. If you're in the front line and you see an army moving, you might want to counter with your own army. Just follow it, right? So if I turn off player view right here, let me swap to his view. He can 100% see me coming right here, right? He sees that. He sees that. But it's just so hard to pay attention to everything in the game because, you know, RTS is very difficult. Like, you can see how I sort of, like, fail to pay attention to certain locations. So this is like a situation where you can exploit. It's like, if you have the initiative, it takes time for the opponent to respond. And, you know, if you're making, like, a major push like this into a weak spot, like, that's, like, doubly damaging. Okay, let's go back to my view here so we can see what we can learn from this. So, continuing to, we're going to continue pushing. So, basically, I'm going to be teaming up with Purple here to do a blow to him. And this player should have either counterattacked or assisted way earlier. But because he's so late, it's kind of, if he assists now, it's, like, too late. So, I would have attacked, or, like, it would have been best if he attacked while continuing to get this reclaim. My commander is kind of low HP. I need to get this guy to repair, but I have him building artillery because I know if this guy has tanks, he's going to have artillery, and my bots simply don't outrange the artillery that well, and you would need like a ton of grunts to deal with artillery, so, you know, just build one of the medium plasma to like hold this area. I put it on the hill here. I didn't notice, but the hill extends like this, so I could have put it right there. But, you know, it's the same thing. I wanted to really deny this area, this choke right here, and I wanted to make it hard to take this position. So let's go back to the... I'm getting sidetracked. But here we see that we're taking out their solar collectors of this like more higher rated player. He has to bring his army back. Now Red sees that I'm making a play here, so he comes and supports. Earlier he wanted to push here, but you know, this is just as good. Like, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solar collectors. We get a T2 engineer, which is 400 metal. And our purple player comes in and just wipes up to this point here, basically. And we also get 3 mexes, 3 enemy mexes. That's 6 metal per second, basically. That is denied, and they have to get an engineer all the way over. That's like 20 seconds of travel time. So you do the math, you know, 6 times 20, that's like 120 metal also denied, plus the cost of rebuilding mexes. These streaming reinforcements aren't too good with dealing with, you know, punch-throughs. See how it's just a single bot? Now, he does have his commander here. I wasn't able to pay attention. I could have just sent it over. Wow, because I was getting shelled. Who would have thought? Like, I sort of called that. So we just get this thing up, and then this push is denied because T1 artillery cannot break through to plasma artillery that easily. You need a lot of tanks to cover for it. Again, these T1 guard towers, you know, just sort of delaying for them. I kind of just want to focus on my economy and stuff. I got queuing up things, getting everything back in order. Yeah, sending in the stragglers. I had an engineer. I don't know why I have an engineer doing this. I get that I didn't have res bots on hand, but, you know, see how that entire base was just wiped out because of this hole. You know, this one hole is just screwed them over twice, basically. So remember, just if they have defensive lines like this, just run past the defensive lines. Okay, in a minute here, my high-rated player is just gonna wipe the game because he's had so much time. He's been basically uncontested, and now he's gonna move his army up. Look, but even before he arrives, though, okay, it's relatively even here still, right? But it's actually in my favor because the midline is like right here. I don't know why it's continuously doing this, but the midline's here. I'm denying these mexes. I have my mexes. That's like favorable to me. So this side is winning already still, and this player is also hurting. So you know we're basically denying this entire area, which is positive for us. And over here, the bottom, it's more or less midline, right? So you can see how already we've created advantage for our team, and this player who's high rated is just going to capitalize it and basically end the game. So basically, we saw like 2 or 3 concepts, right? It's like D-gun with your commander to hold the line, exploit holes in their lines, and avoid high like power zones, especially like commanders. And you employ defeat in detail, which means I would have squads instead of singular units exploiting the holes. So one thing I wanted to say also was that I did this with bots, right? I did this with grunts, but you can actually do this with tanks and light tanks. And I would think light tanks are actually a little better for this because all the light tanks by both factions are actually faster than grunts. So even the streaming reinforcements can't catch up. So it really gives like an advantage. Although the Cortex is only 2 speed faster, so it's not a big much, but you can outrun the chasing reinforcements, and it just like wastes so much time. So you can basically do that with tanks as well, and it's just as good. Ideally, I mean, I don't play Armada that much, but if you do it with blitzes, that's probably the best thing, because those things are like made for that, probably. They're made for this, probably. So we have a decent front line. I don't know exactly what he has. I know he has tanks. I don't want to deal with it, but I see this. I'm like, oh, okay. We're doing something. So I try to get whatever production I needed going while I send these guys in. He's telling me we should go in, so I go in. And this basically ends the game right here. It's just like completely crushes his top half. I split this off so I can assist the front line here and also kill what's up here. I see that I end up seeing that the commander's here, so I target the commander. And, you know, I sacrifice some of the units here, but, you know, we're getting like a lot of taking here. It's basically game over for them. I decide to clean up whatever's up here with the sumo spawn forward. No, I just wanted to clear out this entire top half. Yeah. So yeah, it's still down here. It's more or less holding. This guy has to deal with deals and things, but you know, I don't even notice this, honestly. Oh, he's gonna do defense here. He doesn't micro. He forgets the micro. Should have run them out of the attack range. Also, you know, the covering, but yeah, this entire area is just now taken. He's got res bots going in, doing things. I didn't have res bots because I was going T2. So I thought I was winning hard here, so I'm like, time to go T2. I should have, you know, I kind of wanted to claim all this, but I just didn't have the stuff, the attention for it. Bombers also coming in because, you know, their attention is so spread out. They basically collapse the bombers, get in, they get this base. The enemies are resigning, by the way. The game is basically won. So now I'm just gonna speed this up because basically, I don't think there's anything like more critical to learn here now, or like interesting concepts. It's basically all that happened in the earlier game. Now, this player if you go to turn on player view, because we don't need to see from my perspective anymore. He's basically had to take over multiple players, and he's fighting the whole game now, so it's not looking great for him. He's got P2, but you know, he's playing against the entire whole team that's basically don't know what you would call that. I think oh yeah, I call it oops, okay, step 1. Run by. Step 2. Avoid. Oh my god. Power. Step 3. Squads. Okay, which is basically defeat in detail. You don't want to have screaming units fighting squads. And then 4 is D-gun. D-gun and hold. That's basically it. Well, like, these are the 4 concepts, more or less, that I wanted to share that could help you win the front line here. All of this helps you make space for your backline here. Basically, by keeping up the aggression, the opponent has to keep responding until they can't respond. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope this is like a useful tip guide video or whatever. Because this game is getting popular or whatever. And I like to play it. I took a break from like all my other stuff and I just started like playing this game a lot because it's also really fun. I used to play a lot of Forged Alliance, FAF. I was pretty low rated there. I didn't play too much. I only started to play right before Bar actually started getting popular. So transition was there. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.